Hello, guys, and welcome to the very first edition of Tropics Around the World. My name is Alan Snyder, and I'm going to be here to guide you through everything tropics going on around the world, or what could be coming around the world. So let us start off with the most pressing matter here, and that is tropical cyclone Tate. And as you can see, it definitely has made landfall in the northern India coast here. This is definitely not 110 knots anymore because it's like I said, there's a mountain strain here, so it's probably weakening pretty quickly. Probably not quickly, but quick enough to hopefully not cause these people too much suffering that they're already going through. This is definitely going to be a rain event going forward too, so be on the lookout for flash flooding and pounding on the roadways and overpasses not being able to be driven across. So there's always that danger from that. All right, well, this is going to be a short little segment on Taute because we got a lot to discuss, and we're as you guys see, we're here on the GFS here, and this is at the 6 hour mark, and you see that it made landfall. So it's gonna be. It looks like it's gonna be a cyclone for at least 36 hours, and then it pretty much the land interaction and the trough up here is gonna take it and just say no, you shall not pass, and then just opens it up altogether as soon as it gets over to that trough. So let's take a look at the total precipitation that might be still to come with this system. And as you can see, we're gonna go. We're only gonna go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go 7 days. 44. Okay, yeah. Here's 7 days, and as you can see, we have a lot of light shades here. Some light purples, some dark purples here, and that is indicative of anywhere from 50 millimeters all the way to 150 millimeters. So that should be enough to cause some flash flooding concerns going going forward. And whatever you see going on down here, well, that's going to be an interesting feature we're going to be looking over here when we get to this basin in due time. Okay, so here is the ECMWF for Taute, and as you can see, this is still 12Z this afternoon. So obviously, the 12Z isn't going to show the landfall yet on this initial, forecast period. But as you can see, going forward, we got a 978, still pretty decent cyclone in India, and then 991, still a tropical cyclone, and then 72 hours, it gets picked up by this trough, just like the GFS, and just says, nope, you shall not pass. And just, like I said, with the GFS, it just opens it up to probably nothing more than a rain event after that. So, like I said, hopefully this goes by quickly for the people in India because, like I said, they got a major well, everybody has a major pandemic going, but India and specifically, they have the greatest cases of COVID across the world, and they're in major trouble here. And just having this cyclone come in here is not what they need right now. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of India, and I hope that they are able to recover quickly from this mess going forward. Okay, with that being said, we're going to take a look at the Atlantic, and the GFS on the 12Z run did hit at a subtropical system trying to form out there, but does the 18Z show that? That's the thing here, and it was definitely in feasible range on the 12Z. It was at 120 hours, so we're gonna see if anything pops up here. As you can see, this is an extra tropical low right here, so nothing to be concerned of here at the moment. And you see a front coming down here off of Texas. Who knows if this is going to aid towards anything? We're just going to have to wait and see what the wind shear is like going forward. 72 hours. You could see something trying to spin up out there, but that's so elongated and stretched out that it's not really anything of a great significance. And as you can see, 109, 1,000, 109, 1,009 millibars, but that might be a subtropical system hinting at, or it could be extratropical. It just depends. There's 5 days out, and then 5 days. There's 6 days. Yeah, that might be a. You know, it's hard to tell really. I know it's rotating. That is for sure, but that's probably an extra tropical cyclone right there. Like I said, the 12Z definitely had a subtropical system being hinted at, and so too does the CMC and some of the Euro ensemble members. So we're gonna have to see what happens with this over the next 5 days. But like I said, the GFS 12Z hinted at it, but now 18Z has an extra tropical low instead of a subtropical low. So we're gonna have to see what happens with that. All right, so here is the Atlantic on the European. As you can see, this is definitely an extra tropical low here that's going to be heading off to the north and east around this subtropical high, or the Azores high, as they like to call it. It's 48, 2 days, 3 days. European is hinting at it. There's nothing really concrete, but there's closed circles here with lower pressures, as you guys can see from the lighter shades of colors here. The European has a has a 1018 low pressure system. I didn't know low pressure systems got that high. Normally, this would be considered a high pressure, but it is what it is when the models show it. So we're gonna go 2 more days out, and it shows a whole lot of nothing here on the European. All right, let's take a look at the sea surface temperatures. And you know what? I kind of want to see if they updated that or not. So you know what? We're gonna come here. They probably haven't, but we'll know. We'll find out. Nope, they haven't. So we're just gonna exit out of that one and find our CDAS. Okay, so as you can see here, it looks like the MDR is starting to warm up a little bit because these temperatures are starting to propagate north. Because as you guys know, when I looked over these sea surface temperatures a few days ago, these were like 23s and 24s right in this area where you see my mouse moving. But now you see 24s and 25s. So these sea surface temperatures are starting to rebound as we speak right now. Here in the Caribbean, you see 27s, 28s, and 29s, and 26s. And this is definitely warm enough for tropical cyclone development at pretty much any time of the year, if it really wants to. It's just the off season, the wind shear is usually higher in the Caribbean, so nothing's going to obviously form. We know that. Shear is the shear is one of the number one things that kaputs tropical cyclone development, and the wind shear is about 40, 50, and 60 knots in these areas right now. So no chance in hell of any tropical development happening right now. All right, so you see here in the Bahamas, we have some 28s and even 29s popping up here. So the Bahamas water going into Florida is extremely warm, and this is one of my problem areas for the season. Is this this line right here, going right into Florida here. So with these water temperatures being as warm as they are, I would expect these to get even warmer than this, because we're only in mid May, and we're not even anywhere close to the warmest part of the year. So this makes me extremely worried seeing these 28s and 29s already as we get closer to the Atlantic hurricane season. All right, so you can see here, this is the Gulf Stream, this little pinpoint right here. And as you can see, this Gulf Stream actually has cooled down a little bit. So that's kind of weird, because the yellows and greens used to be up here near South and North Carolina, but they're not there anymore. So we're going to have to see how that plays out as we go forward to the hurricane season. All right, so here's the Gulf. And you can see the 26s, 27s, 28s, and even some 29s popping up. So that's favorable for development in the water temperature sense. But as you can see, we have these 25s, 23s, and all these green shade colors. This has had a hard time warming up as of late, because it's still trying to recover from all the cold fronts that have come down here and the Arctic blast. So do I see it, make the comeback? Yes, I see it making a comeback, but I think it's still going to be a couple more weeks before we get the yellows and oranges up top in the Northern Gulf. Okay, so now we're switching gears to the Eastern Pacific, and right now this is the 18Z run, and right now it has nothing, so we're going to go 24 hours out. Maybe something trying to correlate here. I mean, this is 10-12 low pressure, but no low pressure area yet. It's very elongated. Let's go 48 hours. Nope, nothing came out of that. But as you can see, we got some reds and oranges popping up here. Can this get something going? So let's go out 24 more hours. And there's a 107 low pressure system. So you guys, I'm not saying that these systems are guaranteed to form. Not all low pressure systems are guaranteed to form. It's just a lot of people look at low pressures and think, "Oh, hey, that's going to be a storm." That's not how it works. Yes, it's good to pay attention to low pressure areas, but not all low pressure areas are going to form. So this might be the case with this one. So there's 3 days out. And as you can see, it's really trying to get some type of recognition here, but it's failing to do so. There's 5 days out, 6, 12, and it still has a number there, and it's still trying to do something. And here is 7 days out, and as you can see, close but no cigar. So according to the GFS, there's no tropical development in the next 7 days. So what about the European? What is the European going to tell us? And this is initiated at 12Z, and we're going to go 24, nothing, 48, nothing, 72, nothing, 96. Well, there's an L right there. Like I said, not all low pressure systems form. There's no closed isotherm, so isobars. So that's a thing. Well, then now we got it in 1010. There's a closed isobar, but it's very elongated. Very elongated still, and nothing. European shows nothing in the next 7 days. Attempts, but just like the GFS, it's close but no cigar. So let's take a look at the CDAS sea surface temperatures for the Eastern Pacific. And as you can see, this where you see the 10-degree line, that's pretty much the Eastern Pacific's main development region. And as you can see, there's 30s all over the place, 29s, 29s, even speckles of 31s popping up here. So this is indicative of favorable water temperatures in the Eastern Pacific. As you can see here, up near the coast, we got some 32s popping up. So this is some really good hot bath water temperatures here. Normally, this is part of the usual for the Eastern Pacific to be this hot. So all the Eastern Pacific needs is a cluster of thunderstorms, lowland wind shear, and that cluster of thunderstorms feeding off this warm waters, and then boom, there you go, tropical development. Okay, so now we're looking at the Western Pacific here, and this is normally out of my range of expertise. I like to keep with the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic, but I have been trying to learn, you know, this year to track storms in the Western Pacific and Northern Indian Ocean, as you guys know, with me, covering Tate and trying to give out the best information that I possibly can in order to save the lives. So that's why I decided to branch out into the world of tropics and try to learn different regions of the world. So what we have here is the GFS for the Western Pacific. So we're going to go out 24 hours, and GFS doesn't show much right now. 48 hours. We got a low pressure here, but that's really close to land. What's the wind shear looking like? 10 knots. So the wind shear is pretty favorable in this area. 72 hours and it dissipates. So that's a good thing. We want these things to dissipate and not really form into anything. 72, 96. We're gonna go 3 more days. 3 more days. 120, and we got a low here in the South China Sea. Let's see what the wind shear is like over here. 15 knots, so it's kind of favorable. It's kind of favorable. 44, and as you can see, this system in the South China Sea is actually doing something. So what is the 17 knots? It's borderline. 17 knots is borderline favorable. All right, so let's go out. This is 7 days out, and then we got a 983 tropical system here. Typhoon, most likely, if this stays the case this far out. And it's working with 11 knots of wind shear, so it's favorable. So a 983 millibar storm is a decent Category 1 going on a Category 2 typhoon. It depends on how deep it is as we get to that time frame. I will be keeping up with this as we go out through time, so no worries there. I want to make sure that I keep everybody safe as much as I can. All right, so we're going to take a look at the European for the Western Pacific, and as you can see, this is initiated right now, and we're going to go 24 hours, 48. That's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. We got nothing so far in the 4-day time range. There's 5 days. We got a 1008 low pressure system, but like I said before, not all low pressure areas form into anything. So we're going to go on to the next frames, 144 and 168. This is 7 days out. And the European has a hint of the tropical cyclone that the GFS is pointing out towards. Here's the thing. The European is 2 days late in forming it than the GFS. So we're going to have to see, whether the system stays on the board, first of all, and whether the European catches up to the GFS or the GFS slows down with the Europeans style here. So those are the three questions that we're going to have to answer going forward. And like I said, I will keep on top of this as we go out through time. All right, so here's the sea surface temperatures for the Western Atlantic. I meant the Western Pacific, and as you can see, it's just warm. It's just bathtub warm, and as you can see, where that system is planning on developing, if it comes to fruition, it's going to be in 31 and 32 degree Celsius hot bath water. So the hot temperatures in the water is not going to be a problem for this thing whatsoever if it decides to develop in the future. Um, Here east of the Philippines, we got 29s and 30s and 28s, and a speckle of 31s here. So plenty warm enough in this region. So we put a check mark there and a check mark there, and that is it for that. All right, so here is the whole of the Indian Ocean scene right now, and as you can see, here is Cyclone Tate that has made landfall earlier this afternoon, and hopefully we can get this out of here quickly, so the people of India can recover. So with that, we got a few low pressure systems here. We got a 1006, and then this one is Invest 90s. So this is actually practical right here. So since this is 90s, we're going to look at wind shear values here, and it's only at 4 knots of shear. So that is pretty good for that. And oops, didn't mean to do that. And then it pretty much gets stretched out after that. Now, I don't know if this is going to live too far to tell the tale. So there's 24, 48. It tries to make a little bit of a comeback. So what's the wind shear here? Only 1 knot. There's literally no shear whatsoever for that system right there. 72. It's still struggling. I don't know what's causing this to struggle, but we'll find out here. 13 knots of wind shear, so nothing too spectacular. 1,006, 1,005 millibars, and let's take a look at the wind shear values. 2 knots of wind shear. But now what I think is happening now is this low pressure system is so close to this low pressure system that it's giving it a hard time for either end to really do something. Here is 5 days out. We got 1,007, 9 knots a shear. But now this one right here is 1,001 millibars. So who knows at this point what's really going to happen here? But it's dealing with 82 knots shear. That's not going anywhere. I almost guarantee you, unless that changes in the next 5 days. And it's pretty much gone. Both of them are pretty much gone. And then, there it is at 7 days out. But now we're going to go back in time, because now we're going to pay attention. This is 5 days out. Well, 5 days and 6 hours out. Now we got a system here worth talking about. And it's dealing with some borderline wind shear problems, but it seems like it's going to do pretty well with trying to get rid of, that in the long run. 20, 144. Now we got a 990 millibar system here in the Bay of Bengal, and 12 knots of wind shear. So it's definitely intensifying pretty nicely now. And here is 7 days out, and I can't even tell what that is. It's probably 982. And it's dealing with only 5 knots of shear. So the GFS has some pretty interesting features in both the Bay of Bengal and the South China Sea. So we're going to have to see how this all pans out over the next couple of days, and if the GFS and maybe the Euro even keeps hold of these. So now we're going to take a look at the European now, and as you can see, there's Tate making that landfall, and now it has Invest 90s here. 24 hours, Tate making going farther inland, and 90s not doing a whole bunch of nothing. 2 days out, Tate is starting to die down, and Invest 90s is still struggling for air here. 72 hours, Tate is pretty much gone. And NFS 90 still struggling. 96, there's 5 days out, 6 days out, 7 days out. So just like the system in the South China Sea, the European is slow to pick up on the potential system in the Bay of Bengal. So the three questions that we asked earlier in the Western Pacific pertains to this one as well. So we're gonna have to see what happens with this, and I'm gonna keep up on that as much as I can for you guys. Okay, so here is the sea surface temperatures for the Indian Ocean, and as you can see, both sides here is just smoking freaking hot. That you can't get much hotter than this without you know probably affecting something with the storm. I heard that if the sea surface temperatures are too high, that may hurt the storm. So we're gonna have to probably not at that point right now. I'm sure that's in the mid 30 C's or high 30 C's, but the potential future system that the GFS and the European are pointing out is gonna be over plenty hot tub like waters. So the people, the surrounding coast in the Bay of Bengal need to pay attention to what's going on in the tropics in the coming days, and I will keep you guys on top of that. Anyways, this is the very first episode of Tropics Around the World. I'm gonna do this once a week, probably on Mondays, like tonight, where we go over everything tropics around the world. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this inaugural episode of Tropics Around the World. My name is Alan Snyder, of course, and I'll catch you guys in another video.